it conspiracy when the State Department issued a statement on its website saying the US is, quote, engaged in this conflict at the request of Israel?
My main goal was just to come here, rant that how irresponsible it is for the Israeli government to push Donald Trump into a war against Iran. That was my main objective. But after reading an article from the Times of Israel, it was an article, I have changed my mind. Although I believe to some extent the Israeli government, led by Benjamin Netanyahu, convinced Donald Trump to go into war against Iran, I am convinced in that part. But I am also convinced on what this individual shared, that the responsibility of the United States going into war against Iran was a decision made by Donald Trump. I want to share a discussion where Mehdi Hassan is asking an individual in a conversation. There is this Al Jazeera kind of a debate. He asks an individual the role which the United States played, not the United States, but Israel played when it came to the war against Iran. You are going to see, you are going to observe, even the audience do still believe that Israel played a great role in convincing the United States to go into war against Iran. Just observe.
Isn't it the case that this was always Netanyahu's war and Trump is just the first US president dumb enough to give it to him?
I wouldn't assume that. Just because Israel consistently wanted it doesn't mean that it was the tail wagging the dog, that somehow Netanyahu imposed his will on President Trump. There's no evidence for that.
Imposed, but lobbied, persuaded, cajoled, manipulated.
I think there's a lot of kind of conspiratorial thinking here.
Is it conspiracy when the State Department issued a statement on its website saying the US is, quote, engaged in this conflict at the request of Israel? Is it a conspiracy theory when the US government says it out loud?
Well,
if we have come to an agreement that the United States of America is in war against Iran, and one of the biggest ingredients is Israel convincing the United States and also Donald Trump to go into war, we need to agree that. But this is going to alleviate the responsibility of Donald Trump, that he is one of those individuals who has been elected by the majority of the people in the United States to be their president. From this article I mentioned, this, I believe she was a female. She shared some of the ideas or some of the perspectives concerning the United States and the individual they have at the White House. This is an individual, this is what I got from that article. This is an individual who was offered not a Nobel Peace Prize, but a peace prize by a football federation. This is a gift which never existed before, but it was just created for honoring Donald Trump. And what was the main reason for creating this kind of a rubbish reward? Is just to convince Donald Trump not to mess up the football, the World Cup football matches which are currently happening in the United States. So Donald Trump is an individual who is interested to receive gifts, and this is exactly what even foreign countries, including the Israeli government, have in place, which they can employ to manipulate Donald Trump. Donald Trump unveiled an aeroplane which he received, I believe it was from United Arab Emirates, I'm not sure of that. But different countries offer Donald Trump different gifts to manipulate him. So, blaming Israel, I understand from this author's perspective that this should be the responsibility of ordinary Americans, the individuals who elected Donald Trump into presidency. They should bear this responsibility that it is their president who they elected who was going to serve them. who is who made the decision to go ahead and start a war with or against Iran. Another thing which you need to realize, Donald Trump is one of those individuals who fires individuals who he doesn't agree with. He throws individuals under the bus now and again. The likes of Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen, all of those MAGA individuals who were not for the war. Donald Trump has gone ahead and renounced them. So this idea that Donald Trump is going to receive different opinions from the meetings which he sits on, from the people who have different opinions on the meetings he participates in, that would be a complete lie. Most of the individuals, the likes of Marco Rubio, the likes of the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, all those individuals are going to ensure Donald Trump is made comfortable to go ahead and even make decisions which are not in the best interest of the people of the United States. So that is what I am going to stand by. Donald Trump is you as individuals of the United States who elected him into that office. So all the decisions he is making, if they are not in your best interest, you need also to carry the cross. We agree the likes of Marco Rubio said that the United States decided to go ahead and strike Iran just because Israeli had promised they were going to do it. So they needed, I am in a position even to I am unable to describe what is the relationship between the United States and Israel, because it is so hard to describe this relationship, more especially when you realize that Britain, which is a small country, was able to colonize half the planet. So I am stuck in that position of understanding who controls who. I am not in that position. So the narrative, yeah, we accept. The administration has claimed that it went into war because Israeli had promised they were going to strike Iran. But what is the interest? What is it? What is in it for the ordinary American? I believe most individuals can say the Venezuela idea was a success, but it is going to benefit the corporations of the United States. And this is what Donald Trump thought of when it came to the whole issue of Iran. He thought that Iran was going to turn exactly into Venezuela, a quick process, then they are going to steal their resources out of Iran. This notion that the United States went into Iran to stop the Iranian people from acquiring a nuclear weapon, I believe that should be described as anti-Semitic, because that's not true. Now and again, the Iranians and also officials of the United States have said that the Iranian people were not interested to acquire a nuclear weapon. That has been already accepted as a truth. So this notion of using the nuclear weapon to escape from reality, to build a notion that Iran was an imminent threat to the United States, is complete lie. This should be described as I've already said. So this issue, as we all accept, the United States and its people should take full responsibility of the seekers which is happening when it comes to the foreign wars which the United States president has started. Whether it's his interest to go ahead and entertain the idea of taking Greenland, whether it's going ahead and invading Venezuela, whether it's Cuba making it a nightmare, whether it's going ahead and attacking the Houthis in Yemen and him leading to the closure of the Red Sea, whether it's going ahead and attacking Iran, whether it is starting with the trade wars, trade tariffs, the people of the United States first need to take that responsibility, that it is their decision of going to the polls and electing Donald Trump as their president. So when farmers are going through difficult times, you should take the responsibility of not blaming Israel, even if they have muscles of in terms of their resources, which they are spending for politicians in the United States. You should take the responsibility that it is your decisions cumulatively that has led the world in general into the situation which it is at the moment. Despite Benjamin Netanyahu using that opportunity of understanding Donald Trump is easy to manipulate, is dumb enough to accept this idea, this notion that it is going to be a success by if you go ahead and attack Iran at the moment, its population, by you killing more than 200 kids or almost to 200 kids, that the individuals are going to be excited to be martyred. I believe that's a notion which ordinary Americans should first take responsibility that it is them who elected Donald Trump. If he is being manipulated, whether it's by North Korea, whether it is by Putin, whether it is by Britain, whether it is by Brazil, whether it is by Argentina, whichever country, it is your decision, you as an individual, who made it happen. Anyway, I would like your thoughts concerning this issue. As you can observe, most individuals do understand or do agree that Donald Trump was manipulated by Israel, but we should not take off the responsibility that ordinary American was responsible for what is happening. As usual, siku njema.